I never imagined my sister would be the one to have me physically thrown out of a place where I had spent years of my life supporting her, believing in her, and sacrificing my own comfort so she could live her dream. But the night it happened, when she stood behind the hostess stand of her restaurant, arms crossed, eyes cold, and said, "Remove her, she doesn't belong here anymore," something inside me broke forever. The restaurant was loud that evening. Glasses clinked, laughter echoed, a Friday night rush, every table full, the kind of night restaurateurs pray for. And I was standing there in front of everyone, customers, staff, strangers, being treated like I was nothing, like I was disposable, like I was a problem to be dragged out. Two security guards stepped toward me. One gently touched my elbow, whispering, "Ma'am, please don't make this harder." The other avoided my eyes completely. I looked past them at my sister, Clara. She didn't look away. She didn't flinch. She didn't even look sorry. "Clara," I said, my voice shaking despite every effort to keep it steady, "you know why I'm here." She laughed. Actually laughed, a short, sharp sound that carried farther than she intended. "You're here because you don't understand boundaries, and because you're embarrassing me, again." A few diners turned their heads. Someone whispered. I felt my face burn. "I just asked to speak with you. 5 minutes, that's all." She leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice, but not enough. "You don't get 5 minutes in my restaurant, and you definitely don't get to make scenes here. Get her out." That was it. No discussion, no explanation, no acknowledgement of everything I had done for her to stand there calling it hers. As the guards escorted me toward the door, I caught a glimpse of myself reflected in the glass, shoulders hunched, eyes glossy, clutching my coat like armor, 39 years old, and once again reduced to the family inconvenience. The door closed behind me with a final, humiliating thud. I stood on the sidewalk for a long moment, the cold night air biting into my skin, my ears still ringing with restaurant noise that now felt like it belonged to another life. That was the night my sister thought she'd won. She had no idea it was the night everything changed. Clara had always been the star, the golden child, the one our parents bragged about at family gatherings, the one whose mistakes were called learning experiences, while mine were labeled disappointments. Growing up, she was charming, ambitious, loud. I was quiet, careful, dependable, and dependable people get used. When Clara announced she wanted to open a restaurant, everyone panicked, except me. She had no savings, no business experience, no patience, just a vision and a mouthful of confidence. "I just need a little help to get started," she told the family over Sunday dinner. "Once it's running, it'll pay for itself." Our parents looked at me immediately, not her, me, because I was the responsible one, the one with a stable career in commercial real estate, the one who always helped. "I can't invest directly," I said carefully, "but I can help you find a location, negotiate a lease, connect with contractors." Her face lit up. "You're the best sister ever," she said, squeezing my hand. I should have known then. I helped her for 2 years. I found the building, a historic corner property with incredible foot traffic. I negotiated the lease terms so favorable that the landlord practically thanked me. I fronted money for architectural plans, helped secure permits, reviewed contracts she never read. When the bank hesitated, I quietly co-signed the loan. When suppliers demanded upfront payments, I covered them. When staff quit, I helped interview replacements. I never asked for ownership. I never demanded credit. I believed family meant something. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, I became invisible again. My suggestions were dismissed, my concerns were brushed off, my name disappeared from conversations entirely. "It's my restaurant," Clara would say lightly. "I need to make my own decisions." And when the restaurant finally opened, my role vanished overnight. I was no longer the sister who helped, I was the sister who interfered. The incident that led to my expulsion started with something small, a missing payment. I received a call from the bank informing me that a loan installment was overdue. My name was still attached. My credit was on the line. I called Clara immediately. She didn't answer. I texted, no response. I emailed, nothing. So I went to the restaurant in person. On a busy night, yes, but because I was desperate. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I just asked to speak privately. That was apparently unforgivable. "You're trying to control me," she snapped when I finally reached her near the kitchen. "You always do this." "I'm trying to protect myself," I said quietly. "My name is still on." "And that was a mistake," she shouted. "I never asked you to do that." The lie hit harder than the yelling. "I did this for you," I said quietly. "No," she replied. "You did it to feel important." And then she called security. That night, after being thrown out, I sat in my car for another hour, staring at the steering wheel. I cried, but not the kind of crying that seeks comfort. This was different. This was clarity. I realized something terrifying and freeing at once. Clara didn't see me as family. She saw me as a resource, and once the resource questioned her, she discarded it. I went home and pulled out every document I had ever signed, every email, every receipt, every contract. That's when I saw it. A clause buried deep in the original lease agreement. A clause I had negotiated myself, a clause Clara had never read. The property wasn't just leased, it had an option to purchase, and the option wasn't in Clara's name. It was in mine, because the landlord had trusted me, because I had the financial standing, because Clara insisted, "Just put it under you for now, we'll fix it later." Later never came. My hands trembled as I reread the document. The purchase window was still open, the price was fixed, and the building, now a thriving, profitable restaurant, was worth far more than what the contract allowed me to buy it for. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding. Clara thought she had humiliated me. She thought she had erased me. She had no idea she was standing on borrowed ground I legally owned the future of. And for the first time in my life, I didn't rush to fix things. I didn't call, I didn't warn her, I didn't protect her from the consequences of her own arrogance. I waited, because this time I wasn't going to beg for a seat at the table. I was going to buy the whole building. I didn't rush the purchase. That was the first mistake my sister made, assuming revenge always comes loud and fast. Instead, I waited. I let the silence do the work, while she strutted around town telling everyone how she'd finally cut me off, how I'd been thrown out of her restaurant for causing a scene. I sat in my quiet apartment reading balance sheets, lease agreements, and valuation reports with the calm focus that only comes after years of being underestimated. The restaurant wasn't struggling the way she claimed. It was bleeding. Poor vendor management, unpaid taxes, inflated payroll for friends who barely worked. On paper, it looked successful. Underneath, it was collapsing, and I knew exactly why. My sister had never built anything. She inherited confidence the way others inherit money, unearned and loudly displayed. The restaurant existed because our parents had quietly co-signed loans, bailed her out during the first slow year, and handed her contacts she didn't deserve. I was the one who helped her draft the original business plan. I was the one who stayed up late running projections while she talked about menu aesthetics. When she screamed at me in front of customers and had security drag me out like a criminal, she thought she was erasing me. What she actually did was free me. 3 weeks after I was thrown out, the broker called. "Off the record," he said, lowering his voice even though we were on the phone, "the owners are desperate. Silent partners want out. Debts piling up. If someone came in with clean capital, it could close fast." I didn't tell him my name yet. I didn't tell anyone. I created a holding company instead. The negotiations took 6 weeks. I never attended meetings in person. I let lawyers and accountants do the talking. The offer was simple: $2 million. Cash, clean, immediate closing, no renegotiations, no delays. They accepted within 48 hours. On paper, the restaurant didn't belong to me, but every signature pointed back to my account. The day ownership transferred, I walked into the restaurant for the first time since the night I was thrown out. I didn't wear anything dramatic, no designer coat, no statement heels, just calm confidence and a quiet smile. My sister was behind the counter, laughing with a server. She looked up and froze. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. "What are you doing here?" she snapped. "You're not allowed." I didn't answer her. Instead, I handed my phone to the manager. "Call a staff meeting," I said, gently. "Now." The room filled slowly. Confused faces, nervous whispers, my sister pacing like a trapped animal. Finally, I spoke. "My name is Evelyn," I said, steady and clear. "As of this morning, I am the sole owner of this restaurant." The silence was suffocating. My sister laughed, a sharp, desperate sound. "That's not funny. You don't own anything." I slid the documents onto the counter. Deed transfer, corporate acquisition, final payment confirmation. She read one line, then another. Her hands started shaking. "No," she whispered, "this isn't possible." I looked at her then, really looked, and for the first time in my life I felt nothing. No anger, no fear, no need to explain myself. "You had me thrown out. You humiliated me. You told everyone I was nothing." I paused. "So I bought the place you used to feel powerful." The staff stared at her now, not at me. Her authority evaporated in seconds. She started yelling, accusing, crying. I let her finish. Then I said the words she never thought she'd hear. "You're terminated, effective immediately." Security escorted her out. No shouting, no scene, just consequences. Over the next month, the restaurant transformed. Toxic managers were replaced, unpaid vendors were settled, the menu was refined, not flashy but honest. The staff stopped flinching when someone raised their voice. Business improved, reputation followed. One evening, as I locked up after closing, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my sister. "You stole my life." I typed back one sentence. "No, I stopped letting you steal mine." I never saw her again, and I didn't need to, because the best revenge wasn't watching her fall. It was finally standing in a place she tried to take from me, without hatred, without guilt, and without needing her approval ever again.